This is Victoria Fear. I am Programs Officer with the Miami Foundation, and I am so glad to be with you all this morning to lead you through this webinar for Give Miami Day 101. As you know, Give Miami Day is this year on November 16th. It's our 6th annual event, and we're so excited that you are here and interested in joining. So we are going to be recording this webinar as well for those that are unable to join us in the live session so that they can experience the webinar later on. So if you have colleagues that wanted to join and were not available this morning, they can also watch the recording. Oh, can anyone see me? Is anyone having trouble seeing me on the webcam? If you can drop your into the chat or the questions box, let us know if you see the webcam. Okay, great. You do the recording? Yep. My colleague Roshni is here with me as well. So we will be answering your questions throughout the webinar, so please drop them into either the chat box or the questions box, and we'll get to them as soon as possible. So again, this is Give Miami Day 101. We'll be covering the basics, how to register, how to make a gift, how the fees and the bonus pool and all of those questions work. Again, we welcome your questions, so please enter those into the chat box or the questions box. So let's get started. So we're first going to recap last year's Give Miami Day event. As I mentioned, this is our 6th annual Give Miami Day, and last year was our largest event to date. So we had 668 local nonprofits participate in the event, over 19,000 donors, and this community collectively raised over $9 million in just 24 hours. Pretty fantastic, right? And on this slide, I've highlighted some of the organizations who were most successful in terms of the number of donations. Now, I know this is a fundraising event and people want to raise a lot of money, but I personally feel that what's even more valuable to your organization is the number of folks that say that they care about you on Give Miami Day by making a monetary donation. You can see that topping the list was our friends at Planned Parenthood. This was the first time they came out on top during Give Miami Day. And you can see that Planned Parenthood was really threatened. There was a lot of news around their budget and their funding from the government, and that was a huge topic of debate. And our community really voted with their dollars and said, we care about Planned Parenthood's mission, we care about supporting them, and we're going to put our money where our mouths are. And so that's how they topped the list. They raised 3 times as much money as they have in years past. So if there's a specific issue that you're working on or something that's particularly relevant given the nature of the news and current events, that's something that maybe you could highlight in your Give Miami Day campaign and help encourage people to support your mission in that way. Of course, these are really extraordinary performances during Give Miami Day. There's 668 nonprofits, and not everyone is going to have over 700 donations. So it's important to set goals that are realistic for your organization, what you can accomplish, and what you'd like to strive to do. Something I want to remind folks of is that Give Miami Day, the funds that you raise are unrestricted. You can use them to support anything that your organization does. It's not restricted to one program or one type of service that you offer, so that's great news. It's also really flexible in that when you're planning other special events for your organization, like a 5K or a silent auction or a golf tournament, there's so much logistical planning that goes into planning that, or a gala. So we're really excited by Give Miami Day because it does take some planning, it does take some forethought on your team's part, but it's much more flexible, much less of a lift. It's a much easier lift for your team to plan Give Miami Day rather than those other types of special events. So keep that in mind as you are planning for your campaign. A reminder that the event is on November 16th, and you do need to register in advance. We have extended the registration deadline by a couple days because of Hurricane Irma. So the registration deadline is Friday, October 20th. And your homepage for the event, where you're going to find everything you need for a successful campaign, is the Nonprofit Toolkit. So if you go to givemiamiday.org and click for nonprofits at the top, or the blue Register Your Nonprofit button on the homepage, you'll be taken to the Nonprofit Toolkit. And there you'll find links to register for all of our upcoming training sessions. You'll find logos and graphics for you to download, a logo usage guide so you know the best way to use those logos and graphics, and some other tools, including my personal favorite, our planning workbook. Now, our planning workbook has best practices, ways you can engage your staff, volunteers, board members, as well as an 8-week work plan that says what you should be doing each and every week leading up to Give Miami Day to ensure that your campaign is successful. So check it out. Go on givemiamiday.org/nonprofit-toolkit, and hopefully that will have the answers to your questions. And we are absolutely here for you if you have additional questions as you're planning your campaign. So feel free to reach out via email or phone, or we have upcoming office hours where you can come by the Miami Foundation's office in person, no appointment needed, to just sit and chat with us and have your questions answered in person. So again, those dates and times are on the Nonprofit Toolkit. How to participate. How can your organization register to join the movement? Like I've mentioned before, this year's deadline to register is Friday, October 20th. And for those that are first-time participants, you're going to fill out a fairly lengthy registration form. Now, we have created short little how-to videos. They're 5 minutes long for both new participants and returning participants to show you how to register for the event. We also have registration guidebooks to walk you through step-by-step how to register. Now, for new users, what I suggest is to just start the registration form. Just fill out a couple fields, press the green Save button, and then the system will send you an email to set a password so that you can continue to log in. And I recommend to everyone on this webinar to do it a little bit at a time and save as you go. Some common experiences that our users have is that they'll upload attachments and the attachments will not be successful in uploading. There's a couple reasons for this. Most frequently, the files that you've chosen to upload are larger than the size limit. There's a 5 megabyte size limit on every upload. So for instance, if you're uploading a high resolution image of your kids at a robotics class, that high resolution image is probably going to be larger than 5 megabytes, and therefore the system will not successfully save your upload. So what we suggest is resizing the photo or shrinking the PDF file, whatever is applicable to you, so that it is within that 5 megabyte size limit. Then the other issue is that the overall registration form has a limit of 25 megabytes. This means that all of your files that you're uploading combined have to add up to less than 25 megabytes. So those are two things to keep in mind as you are completing your registration form. For returning users, it's a lot easier. When you log in, everything that you filled out during last year's registration is already pre-filled for you. So all you're going to do is update the fields that need to be updated for this year. So every single year that you participated in Give Miami Day, you are going to have to update the financial files. That's your current operating budget, your letter from the Department of Agriculture, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a second, and your 990. Please provide your most recent current valid documents, or else we will send it back to you and say, hey, you are missing this 990 is from 2012, for instance. We will need something more up to date. So that's something to please pay careful attention to. The rest of the registration form, you're just verifying if the information is still correct and updating it if you so choose. So if there's changes within your staff or changes within the programs that you offer, or if you want to provide new images and videos, you can change those out as you'd like. But the financial files are what we require you to update each year. Now I'm going to go back a slide for a second to mention this note. So a lot of times there's turnover with nonprofit staff, and the person who was your primary contact last year is either no longer in this role or no longer with the organization, and you have to update your contact info so that you are listed as the primary contact. When you do that, the old login is immediately disabled. That means the former password will no longer work. And an error that folks have been experiencing is they try to log in, and there's this error in the top part of the screen that says, this profile is not found, this profile does not exist, please create a new one, or something along those lines. That's just a little error that the system is making. All you need to do is reset the password. If you have any issues with accessing your profile, or the contact person is no longer there, or you just need to, reset the password or anything, please email me. Happy to help you do that. And you do not, if you participated in last year's Give Miami Day, you do not need to create a new profile. It is there in the system, and we're happy to help you access it. So again, if you have questions about anything I'm saying, please put them in the chat box or the questions box, and we'll get to those soon. Okay, so I mentioned the Florida Department of Agriculture letter. We get a lot of questions around this. So within the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, there's the Division of Consumer Services. There is a law that went into effect in 2014 called the Solicitation of Contributions Act. And it says that any organization that solicits donations in the state of Florida has to be registered with the state. And it's an annual registration, and they'll send you a letter that looks like this one on the screen here, that has the date, your organization's name, your registration number, which is usually like some letters and numbers, about 6 characters, and then an expiration date. And even organizations that are very small, like under $25,000 in receipts, still have to complete this registration form with the Florida Department of Agriculture, and they'll send you a letter as well. The only folks that are exempt from this requirement are certain educational and religious institutions. So if you have questions, if you're required to fill out this paperwork, or if there was a lapse in you renewing your participation, please call the Department of Agriculture. They're actually really helpful. You can get someone on the phone really quickly. The phone number is right here on the screen, 1-800-HELP-FLA, and they'll be happy to help you. The thing that I do want to mention is we are paying attention to the expiration date. We do need you to have a valid certificate on Give Miami Day. So you can see this example from the Miami Foundation. Of course, this is an old example, but ours expires in October. Actually, it expires today, October 4th. And so we have to do our renewals right before Give Miami Day. We understand if your organization happens to have a letter that expires in September, October, or November, and we will allow you to participate in Give Miami Day. However, once you receive your new letter from the Florida Department of Agriculture that shows you're still in good standing, and a new letter that has you valid through the next year, please upload that on your registration form so that we can see that you are still in good standing with the state. This is our most stringent requirement. That's why I'm spending so much time talking about it. So if you have any questions, please call the Department of Agriculture or go on their website. They have very comprehensive information. Now, if you are with an educational or religious institution and you are exempt from filing with the Department of Agriculture, you may be asking, okay, well, how do I tell you that I'm exempt? You can upload a brief letter on your letterhead that just says, as a religious institution, we are exempt from filing with the Department of Agriculture. And that's plenty significant. If you have questions or want a sample, again, just email me. Happy to provide that to you. Before I move on, I just want to take a quick pause and see if there's any questions from you, the audience, and see if there's anything we can help answer before moving on to the next section of the presentation.
Yeah, we actually have a few. The first one from Katie is she just wants to know where the recording of this webinar will be.
Perfect question, Katie. It will be on the Nonprofit Toolkit. As I mentioned, the Nonprofit Toolkit is really the homepage for everything you need to plan a successful Give Miami Day campaign. So we'll be posting the webinar there, givemiamiday.org/nonprofit-toolkit.
Great. And Jacqueline had a similar question. So yes, Jacqueline, for registration, you'll go to givemiamiday.org, as well as for the actual event, everything you can find on givemiamiday.org.
Everything lives on givemiamiday.org.
The next question comes from Jennifer. She says, if our financial files date to our last grant application, which was this year, do they still need to update those financial files? How does that work?
Yes, please provide your most current recent information. If you applied for a grant with the Miami Foundation back in January, that system is not the same as the Give Miami Day platform. Everything Give Miami Day lives on a technology platform called Kimbia. They're our partner in this event, and that system does not talk to or correspond with our grant application site at all. So if you applied for a grant with us and you sent us your 990 back a few months ago, we still need your newest financial files on your registration form.
Jacqueline just clarified her question, which I
Oh, sorry, Jacqueline.
For the Department of Agriculture.
Oh, the Department of Agriculture.
Yeah.
So if you provided your Department of Agriculture letter at last Give Miami Day, it's probably expired by now. There is the expiration date on there. Okay, I'm going to go back one slide. You see the X has your organization's name, your registration number, and your expiration date. So we do need something that's current right now. Or, of course, if it expires like within the next few weeks, we understand that you're in the process of renewing, and we'll need your newest letter as soon as possible.
And it looks like they have a website that you can access all of that, right? The Department of Agriculture?
Well, you do have to submit an application. I don't know if the application is online. I think it's a paper application. But, you know, if you call them or go on the website, you can access the application online, but I think you have to fill it out paper and provide some financial files just to show you're a legitimate organization is really what their point is. And if you're like, I have never heard of this letter, I would say contact your accountant or someone that works on your finances or your bookkeeping. They might be doing this for you. You can also go on the Department of Agriculture's website and look up your own organization on this tool they have called Check a Charity. So if you were wondering if you're registered, go on their website, look for Check a Charity, and you can search for yourself there.
Abigail wants to know if it's possible when you're uploading the video links on your profile to use Vimeo instead of YouTube.
That's a great question, Abigail. The Kindia platform is limited to the YouTube capability. So they haven't yet built in the capability to read Vimeo, so it's YouTube only. But the videos are optional. It's completely optional. You are not required to upload videos. That's just something to help make your profile more robust. So if you happen to have videos on YouTube, that's fine. We welcome you to include those hyperlinks, but unfortunately the site is not compatible with Vimeo.
Okay, another question comes from Laura. She wants to know if there's a way in the system for the new person handling Give Miami to see numbers for the organization from past years.
So if donors?
Yeah, I think donation numbers.
Yeah, so after or during Give Miami Day, and I'm going to get to this in the second part of the presentation, but you will receive a report with all your donors' information, and we'll email you a hyperlink to that report during and after Give Miami Day. It's your responsibility as a participating organization to save and store that data. Once we refresh the Give Miami Day website for the New Year's campaign, that data is lost. So we do not have donation reports for any of the past 5 years. What I do have is how much money you raised. So if you're just looking for the numbers on how much money you raised and how much bonus pool, if you want a prize, I do have that data and can email it to you. But if you're looking for specific donor information, we no longer have access to those reports.
And then the last question before you continue
Sure.
is from Regina. She says that their organization's letter of solicitation expires in November and they're in the process of renewing it. So how do they go about that? Is it okay if we upload the renew letter after October 20th?
Yes.
If we don't receive it earlier?
Yes. So please upload your current letter. Of course, you know, we're human eye reviewing your profile. It's not a robot that's reviewing your profile. So we will see that it expires in November and we'll understand that you're in the renewal process. So please upload your most current letter. And you can access your profile after the registration deadline if you do receive the new one in time for the event. And I'll go over those specific dates of how long you have to edit your profile in a little bit. So we're going to move on now. Thank you, Roshni, or Vanna White, as we like to call her. And keep adding your questions to the chat box or the question box, and we'll answer them later on. Thanks so much for everyone who asked questions so far. All right, part 2, how do donors make a gift? So during the 24-hour event on November 16th, you'll have a profile on givemiamiday.org with a live donation form. The good thing is that your profile on givemiamiday.org is built out about 2 weeks before the event. So we'll send you that hyperlink, and at that point, you can start marketing to your donors that here is the place to donate during the day. and they can make a gift to either you on your profile page on givemiamidade.org, or on the homepage of givemiamidade.org, we have what's called the multi-give. And this is where donors can make more than one gift at a time. So if they know the 5 organizations that they want to give to and how much they want to give to each, they can just type them all in right there on the home page, fill out their credit card information, and bam, the transaction is complete. If they want to do some research and explore more about who's participating and what they do, they can also do that as well, and then they'll be taken to your specific organization's profile page. So for instance, givemiamidade.org/NPO, nonprofit organization, /Miami Rescue Mission, or whoever your organization is, and the donor can make a gift there. They can use a debit, credit, or a gift card to American Express or Visa or what have you, or if they have a donor advised fund at the Miami Foundation. Now you may be wondering, well, what is a donor advised fund? That's really the bread and butter of what we do at the Miami Foundation, is manage the charitable giving for local philanthropists. So it's like a charitable savings account. They hold funds here at the Miami Foundation. We manage all of the back office for them, and they can focus on the grant making. So there are other community foundations all around the world. There are companies like Fidelity and US Trust that also offer donor advised funds. But for Give Miami Day, your donors have to either give through their debit, credit, or gift card, or if they have a fund housed here at the Miami Foundation. So if you have a donor that has a donor advised fund at another foundation or with a group like Fidelity or US Trust, and you said, well, they have a donor advised fund, can't they give through that? Unfortunately, the system is only set up to accept gifts through donor advised funds here at the Miami Foundation. So in that case, they would have to use their debit or credit card. A lot of folks have donors that want to give via check, but this is an online event. All of the backtracking for the transactions is done online, and so we need an online way to do that. So if you have donors that want to give via check, what I would recommend is that they purchase a Visa gift card or an American Express gift card and give through that way. Donations are 100% tax deductible, and we will issue your donors their tax receipt. As soon as they make a gift online, they'll get an emailed receipt straight to them that says, this is tax receipt, please keep for your records. So when you're acknowledging your donor's gift, it's really more of just a thank you. You don't have to send them any tax language or tax receipt. We've already done that for you. And because donations are 100% tax deductible, it's important to note that this means that they can't receive any material benefit in exchange for their gift. They can't pay their membership dues. They can't pay for their table at your gala. They can't receive a gift in exchange for a donation. There is no benefit to the donors to participate in Give Miami Day. So I hope that makes sense. If you have questions about that, please enter them in the questions box. Now, the next question is, how do we get our money into the account? So when you register on givemiamidade.org, you'll provide your bank account information. All gifts that you receive on Give Miami Day are transferred via ACH electronic transfer. So you'll receive one lump sum of what you raised on Give Miami Day, your bonus gift, your prizes, any match minutes, which we'll also talk about, and then take out any fees. And that one lump sum is what you'll see in your bank account. Now, we've had some issues in the past where participating organizations don't necessarily understand where the money is in their account, and they'll call us and say, I don't see this transfer. So if you have a question, you can contact us, but we will send you the exact amount that you will be expecting in your bank account. And a lot of times, you have to look out for that exact number to land in your bank account. And also, if you have multiple bank accounts, it's important to remember which one you said that this would be deposited into, so that that's where you're looking. The funds will arrive by December 31st. In the past, we've been able to fulfill this a little bit sooner than December 31st, but as Give Miami Day continues to grow, as you saw on an earlier slide, we had almost 30,000 individual donations last year, and we're manually checking and making sure that all of them went through successfully. So it does take a good bit of time for our team to really comprehend what the end result of the event looks like, and assign, the right amount of money to go to the right people. and get that money out the door. So it will be by the end of the year. Now, I have a note here about credit card and transaction fees, which I'll cover in more depth in a few minutes. The bonus pool. So in the past, this has been mistakenly referred to as match pool. And I do want to clarify, this is not a one-for-one match. This is a bonus. This is to help stretch the dollars that you raise on Give Miami Day a little bit further. So we fundraise extensively to build up the bonus pool. We also allow people to make gifts to the bonus pool during Give Miami Day if they want to support all of the participating organizations. So that pool of money is growing as the event is going on. And the percentage that you will receive as a bonus is determined after the event. So every gift that you receive on Give Miami Day, from $25 to $10,000, will receive a bonus gift. It's a small percentage. Last year in 2016, it was 7.56%. So if a donor gave you a $100 donation, their bonus gift was $7.56, so their gift became $107.56 as a simple example. So like I said, every gift that you raise up to $10,000 will receive a bonus gift, and that percentage is determined after the event. And we will, of course, tell you that percentage as soon as we have that information available. Now, if you are very lucky and have a donor that wants to give you $15,000 or $20,000, but they want to maximize the bonus pool, what we've recommended is perhaps to split their gift into portions of $10,000 or less to be able to maximize the bonus gift. So hope that makes sense. We'll go into that a little bit more in depth momentarily. There are additional incentives to participating in Give Miami Day, and those are our prizes and match minutes. Match minutes was new last year, and we're really excited. So the prizes are generously sponsored by our friends at the Miami Marlins. You're actually in the Marlins conference room right now. If you see Giancarlo Stanton behind me, this is our Marlins conference room because they're such a great partner to us. We help manage their philanthropy, and they, like I said, generously sponsored the prize pool. This is $25,000 in cash prizes that is spread out over the course of the entire event. We have prizes almost every hour, and we will announce the prizes in advance so that you can strategize and see which one you'd like to try and win. So an example of a prize is, let's say, the lunchtime special prize. This is one we've had for the past several years. And the time window was from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. And the way that you would win the lunchtime special prize was if your organization received the most unique donations in that 2-hour window. Now you might be saying, what is a unique donation? It is from one donor to one organization. So Joe Martinez cannot make 10 gifts to, I'll stick with my earlier example, Miami Rescue Mission, and have it count 10 times towards the lunchtime special prize. Joe Martinez is one donor making a gift to Miami Rescue Mission that counts one time. If you have 10 donors that each make a gift to Miami Rescue Mission, then it will be 10 different unique donations counting towards your ability to win that prize. So I hope that makes sense. Again, if you have questions, put them in the questions box. But we will share the prize list with you in advance, usually about 2 weeks before the event, so that you can strategize with your team which prizes you might like to try and win. So the match minutes. This is new last year. We're really excited about it. These are actually one-for-one matching opportunities. We have two sponsors for this year's match minutes, the Miami FC, our local soccer team, and Bank of America. And both of these sponsors have committed $15,000 each for these two match minutes, which again, we will announce before the event so that you can plan. So last year we had a match minute at 3:05 p.m. For that 60-second window from 3:05 p.m. to 3:06 p.m., all gifts between $25 and $100 were matched dollar for dollar until the pool was exhausted. So this year we have $15,000. So the first $15,000 worth of gifts will be matched dollar for dollar and then the pool is out. Then the opportunity is over. This is a really popular idea. So last year at 305, the Miami FC was also our sponsor, but they gave us $15,000, so we split them between 2 match minutes. That's $7,500 each match minute. The match was gone in 2 seconds. In that 60-second window, that 1 match minute, Give Miami Day raised $89,000. So it's a pretty popular idea. So we're really excited that we have a little bit more money to play with, thanks to Miami FC and Bank of America. So keep a lookout on when the match minutes are, and please try and get those matches. And that will all be posted on the Nonprofit Toolkit and be emailed to you. We'll be communicating with you from here on out. So please, of course, reach out to me if you have questions as you're planning your campaign, but also the Nonprofit Toolkit is your friend. We also have a Facebook group that's hyperlinked on the Nonprofit Toolkit. It's called the Give Miami Day Nonprofit Learning Exchange. If you want to minimize this webinar and go to Facebook right now and join the Nonprofit Learning Exchange, that's completely fine with me. That is a place where I'll be posting information. I'll be cross-posting stuff to that Facebook group, but you can also post in the Facebook group and ask questions of your peers, get answers from your peers, exchange ideas. The only thing is it has to be about Give Miami Day. So if you post in there and it's not related to Give Miami Day, I'm going to delete the post. But please join the Give Miami Day Nonprofit Learning Exchange, and hopefully it'll be a great resource to you as you plan and strategize for November 16th. So this scenario, this that I have on the screen here, will show you kind of the numbers and how all the things that we've been talking about up to this point work, how the bonus gift, the prizes, the fees, how all of that works. So in this hypothetical example, this nonprofit received $900 in credit card gifts on Give Miami Day. They also happen to have a donor that has a donor advised fund here at the Miami Foundation that gave them a $100 gift. So those two things subtotal to $1,000. Very respectable showing on Give Miami Day. Congrats on raising $1,000. So how many of those gifts are eligible for bonus? Is any of those gifts over $10,000? No. So the entire amount is eligible for bonus, $1,000. Now, how much bonus gift did you receive? In this example, I'm using the bonus gift percentage from last year's event, so 7.56%. So if you raised $1,000, your bonus gift would be $75.60. Now, this very lucky nonprofit also won a prize of $1,000, and also one of their gifts received a match minute prize of another $100. So now, with the bonus gift, the prize, and match minutes, they have more than doubled what they originally raised. And now, their total gifts stand at $2,175.60. Now, the fees. These are fees from your donors' credit card companies and Kimbia, our platform provider. To be clear, the Miami Foundation does not take a fee. We do not make money off of this event. These fees go directly to Kimbia and the credit card companies. Last year, the fee percentage was 4.06%. Kimbia's fee is 2.99, and the balance is the credit card company. So 4.06 of your credit card gifts received fees on them. That's another benefit in case you have large donors that have donor advised funds or would be willing to open a donor advised fund. The fees, there are no fees on donor advised fund gifts. And so you do receive 100% of that donation, which is awesome. So in this case, only $36.54 was taken out for fees. And the final line is something that was also new last year. We introduced the option for your donors to opt in and cover the fees for their gifts so that you would receive 100% of the donation. Unfortunately, in this hypothetical example, no one chose to cover the fees, so that nets out at $0. So with total gifts of $2,175.60 minus the fees, the grand total that this organization raised in this very hypothetical scenario was $2,139.06 in just 24 hours for an online event. So we're really excited about this year's Give Miami Day. We hope it'll be bigger and better than ever. And the last thing that I want, two more things actually, before we move on to your questions. are our sponsors. As I mentioned, the Miami Foundation fundraises for our bonus pool. We can't do this event without our partners. They make the bonus pool possible, they make the prize pool and the match minutes possible, and those are a lot of the major incentives to participate. So we're really, really grateful. This list of donors and sponsors is always growing. So you can see the list on givemiamiday.org. There's a sponsors page where we recognize all of our sponsors. We encourage you to thank your donors, of course, but also thank our donors, because without them, this event simply just could not happen. So big thanks to these folks. And my last slide before we move into your questions is upcoming dates. We have a couple in-person trainings coming up. The next one is this Friday. It's down south at Coral Reef Library. We'll be discussing social media. This Friday, October 13th training is a new training that we've never offered before, called the Advanced Communications Workshop. And this is less of a lecture where we're just talking to you, and it's more of an exchange. So we'll be in more conversation of, well, this is what we were thinking for our email marketing, and this is what we were thinking for our social media strategy, and we're actually going to mail postcards to our donors, and we'll be talking more as a group about what is working, what ideas need some tweaking, sharing successful ideas. So it's much more interactive. So we hope you'll come to that. On October 24th, we have our world-famous peer learning panel featuring organizations that were particularly successful last year, and I'll be kind of interviewing them in a panel format about what worked, what they learned, what they would do differently, so come out to that as well. Earlier I mentioned our office hours. My friend Roshni here and I will be here at the foundation to help answer your questions. You don't need to RSVP, just stop on by. The hours for those two office hours are posted on the Nonprofit Toolkit, so please do come during those windows of time. Again, the registration deadline is Friday, October 20th, so please update your registration form before then. I will be bugging you, so please register by the 20th. You will receive direct links around November 6th. This, again, is your hyperlink to givemiamiday.org, as well as a link to your donation reports so that you can track your donors. And you'll have a little bit of time between the registration deadline and November 8th to make any final edits to your profile. So again, if you get your new Department of Agriculture letter, or if you get this amazing photograph that you want to upload, or if something happens to change, you have until November 8th to edit your profile. I want to make it perfectly clear that after November 8th, there are absolutely no edits to the site. If you see a typo, if you see your name is spelled wrong, we cannot edit it after November 8th. So please be very cautious as you're updating your registration form. Please review it even after October 20th, after you submit and you say, I'm done, I'm approved, I'm all set. Go back and double check it one more time because after November 8th, there's no changing. The webinar, a next webinar, we hope you'll join us again on November 9th. This is with our partners at Kimbia. They're going to be reviewing how the Give Miami Day site works, how to read your donation report, how to keep track of all those things. It's critical that you participate in our November 9th webinar, and you can register on the Nonprofit Toolkit. Of course, we can't forget Give Miami Day. The day itself is on Thursday, November 16th. It's the Thursday before Thanksgiving every year. So we'll see you then for the best day of giving ever. And of course, the final thing is when you'll receive the funds that you raised. That's by December 31st at the latest. So that's it for me. We're going to turn it over to your questions. Please continue to pop in your questions to the chat box or the questions box. And over to you, Vanna.
Yes, so Ben wants to know how long realistically it will take to complete the registration form.
Well, great question. It kind of depends on if you're a new user or a returning user. For new users, I do recommend doing it a little bit at a time, only completing the required fields at first, and then you can go back in gradually and add in the optional fields. If you read the registration guidebook, if you watch my 5-minute how to register video, if you prepare all of your files and forms and things in advance in a folder, you know where to access them, I think it takes less than a half hour to register. But if you are going in there blind, you haven't read anything or watched anything or prepared any files, and you're just trying to figure it out as you go along, it could take several hours or maybe even several days, because you may run into issues that can be easily troubleshooted if you prepare before you go into the site. It looks overwhelming, there's no doubt about it, but a lot of the fields are optional. We say to only do what's required at first, then go back in and complete additional fields for a more robust profile. If you're a returning user, like I said, everything that you filled out in years past is already there. You're just updating it and verifying it. And I really think that should take about a half hour. Again, there are some technical issues that people run into on the site that might take up a little bit more time, but I think if you do your homework, a half hour.
Okay, the next question comes from Yolanda, who wants to know what time the webinar on November 9th is. It's at 10 a.m.
It's at 10 a.m. and you can register on the Nonprofit Toolkit.
Abigail wants to know if there's a way to see the last year's GiveMiamiDay.org homepage. And then also following up to that, she wants to know if most gifts to organizations, people going directly to GiveMiamiDay.org or scanning the homepage based on areas of service.
Great question, Abigail. So, like I mentioned, similar to your donation report, once we reset the site for the New Year's campaign, all the past data is erased, basically. So we don't have an archived version of last year's GiveMiamiDay.org to show you what the homepage looks like. The donation forms are only live for the 24-hour window that the event is there. So for about 2 weeks before the event, people will be able to go on and explore, see who's registered, see who's participating, but they will not be able to make a gift. Those donation forms will only be live for the 24 hours. So no archived version of the site. And to your second question, most donors know who they want to give to. And most donors find out about Give Miami Day from you, the nonprofit. Although we do a whole lot of promotion about the day in general, it's up to you, our participating organizations, to show your donors and your networks that you're participating in Give Miami Day. And so really the majority of donors go directly to your page, givemiamiday.org/Miami Rescue Mission, to continue with my example. So most donors go directly to your page.
Christy wants to know when the nonprofits will get the direct links to the organization.
Well, that's right here on this screen. Monday, November 6th is when you'll receive your direct links to givemiamiday.org, your profile page on the site, as well as the link to your donation report. The third thing that you get, I didn't mention this because sometimes it's a little bit more confusing than helpful. You really need someone that's like a website pro to do this, but if you have someone that knows HTML on your team, you can use what we call the embed code to embed a Give Miami Day donation form onto your website. Again, it will only be active for the 24 hours of the event, but it's a way to keep directing donors to your site as well, or if they just mistakenly go there, you can also have a Give Miami Day donation form on your site. But again, you kind of need to know HTML. If you don't try this at home. That's my suggestion. But anyway, to answer your question, your direct links will be sent November 6th.
We have a question asking where they can find the times of the physical trainings that you just mentioned.
All of these trainings and the links to register are on the Nonprofit Toolkit on givemiamiday.org.
Yolanda wants to know if there's going to be a training like the Advanced Communications Workshop you mentioned, but in the southern part of the county.
There's not. So I do want to thank our partners at Miami-Dade Public Library System. They are so generous. They offer these spaces for free to us as an in-kind donation. They are considered a sponsor of Give Miami Day. But because of early voting, the availability of a lot of branches was kind of wacky. And so the Advanced Communications Workshop is only being offered that one time up north. So I do apologize that we weren't able to do it in the south as well. Also, we got a little wonky because of the hurricane. We had some additional training scheduled and had to cancel those. So hopefully next year we'll be able to expand that audience, but we do hope you can join us.
Is Kimbia the only method towards donating on Give Miami Day, or is there other credit card donation sites or online options? That question comes from Julia.
Hi, Julia. Kimbia is our partner in Give Miami Day. All of the transactions have to run through the Kimbia site to be tracked and be a part of the event. So you can't use PayPal. If you have any other vendor that you use, or like Amazon Smile or something, or you have like Squares, you can plug it into your phone and swipe it. None of that is compatible with Kimbia yet. We've definitely brought it to their attention that it would help a lot of organizations be a lot more flexible in their fundraising. But right now, how the platform is built is it's just givemiamidate.org.
A follow-up question to the advanced communications question is if there's going to be a PowerPoint or a video available of that session.
That's not currently planned. But the question was if we'll be recording the advanced communications workshop. That's not something we currently have planned, but the social media strategy training this Friday down south will start to touch on a lot of the subjects we'll talk in more depth about during the workshop. So please join us on this Friday. And that will be recorded as a webinar if you're not able to make it on Friday.
And just to follow up to Victoria's comment, if you do have
the voice from beyond.
If you do have any questions or you want to run something by us, our communications team is more than happy to sit down on a phone call and find some time to talk, so you can always reach out to us.
Or come to the office hours and we can help you in person.
For sure. The next question comes from someone from an organization whose last 990 that was filed was in 2014. Now they have an extension. They've received an extension to file their 2015 990. So can they submit the 2014? Do they need to add the extension to that?
You can submit the 2014. Maybe just email me to give me a heads up, because generally we are sending the 2014s back and asking, do you have 2015 or 16 available? Of course, we understand that people's fiscal years start on different dates, and so it may mark 2014, but maybe your fiscal year ends June 30th, 2015, or what have you. Please note that all the financial documents you provide are public on your Nonprofit Central profile. So when you register for Give Miami Day, you're also added to our year-round site, Nonprofit Central. And so you don't want to upload anything that you don't want the public to see. This is a donor-facing site. So donors are curious about your 990. They are curious about your budget, but you don't have to give the whole kit and caboodle. So I don't think you need to put the extension letter up there, and just shoot me an email to let me know about the 990 so that I'm on the lookout for it. Thank you.
What is your email address?
Great question. I mentioned emailing me about 100 times. So my email address is my first initial, last name, V as in Victoria, F as in Frank, E-A-R, V-Fear, at miamifoundation.org. On our website, our main website, not the Give Miami Day website, but if you go on miamifoundation.org, our whole staff is listed with headshots and bios and our phone number and our email and our Twitter handle, so we're really easy to find.
Okay, Stephanie wants to know if donors can give through mobile devices.
Yes, the site is mobile compatible. So it's, what's the word, optimized? It's optimized for mobile. So it still is givemiamiday.org, but we saw actually a big increase in mobile donations in the past couple of years. It's just a much more common, of course, we spend all our time on our phones. So people, yes, can make gifts mobily, yes.
Allison wants to know if it's possible to add a line on the donation form that someone can put the employer name so that nonprofits know to expect corporate matching gifts. Or could you explain how matching gifts work, I guess, from corporations and employers?
Yes. So usually we do accept employer matching gifts. And actually my colleague Janelle is the authority on this one, but usually if an employee of an organization makes a gift and they expect that their employer will match that donation, it usually happens after Give Miami Day. So what we've found in past years is that the employer sends us a letter that says, this employee, Victoria Fear, made a gift of $100 on Give Miami Day, and here's our matching contribution, or fill out this paperwork to receive the matching contribution. So that's most often what we see. We have certainly seen businesses that want to donate on Give Miami Day and use their corporate card. So under their name, they just put their business name. So that's another option. We try to keep the donation form as simple as possible. It's already pretty bulky with your billing address and all the information. So we try to ask as few questions as possible to try to keep it simple.
Okay, so we just have a couple more questions here. Again, we still have a few more minutes on the webinar, so If you have more questions, make sure you get them in. The next question is if we accept checks on Give Miami Day.
We do not. As mentioned earlier, the site has to be a credit card, a debit card, or a gift card, like a Visa or American Express gift card, or through a donor-advised fund at the Miami Foundation. So as I suggested earlier, what you can tell those donors if they want to do a check is to perhaps purchase a gift card from American Express or Visa for the amount of their gift and use that instead of a check. We certainly recognize that a lot of donors aren't comfortable putting their credit card information online, and we understand, and that's why the gift card option is a great alternative to those folks. Also, what we've heard is a lot of donors, they want to pool their money together. We know that the $25 minimum donation is prohibitive to some folks, so they pool their money together, buy a gift card together, and use that to make the donation. The only holdup with that is that I said the gifts are 100% tax deductible, and then only the person who fills out their information on the donation form would receive that tax receipt, but no checks.
As someone's working through the registration form, is it possible for them to save their progress? Do they have to do it all at once?
Yes, and I really, really, really encourage you to save your progress. There's a green button at the top and bottom of the registration form. For first-time users, the button says Save Changes. For returning users, it says Save and Submit, which I know is scary because you're like, I'm not ready to submit. I just want to save my progress so far. We understand. It's a confusing button, but just press the green button. It'll save your changes. You can keep just adding more information to your form. Every time you make edits to your registration form, you're going to get an email that says Profile Updated. It's just an automatic thing that Kimbia sends out with the most recent version of your registration form so that you have a record of what you put into the system. So we do encourage you to save your progress regularly. This is especially true when you're uploading large files under 5 megabytes to ensure that they upload successfully. And the last thing I want to highlight again is I do have these really quick 5-minute videos about how to register that are, I think they're very helpful. Of course, I made them, but just watch them. They're 5 minutes. They're on our YouTube channel. They're also on the Nonprofit Toolkit, and it does, reinforce to please save your progress as you go.
And then our last question comes from Judith, who wants to know the difference, like where the DBA name is going to be displayed versus the legal name.
Thanks, Judith. I love that question. It's actually something that we're doing a little bit differently this year than in past years. So on the registration form, you'll see 2 questions. One says organization legal name for payment purposes or something like that. And the next field says preferred name or DBA for display on your profile. And we've made both of these questions required. We understand, of course, that a lot of our participating organizations don't have a preferred name or DBA. They go by their legal name. So you would just enter that information in again. The reason we made it required is because folks that do have a different legal name than their DBA, what they're known in the community by, for instance, Lotus House Women's Shelter, their legal name is Sundari Foundation. If you're looking at their profile page on GiveMiamiDay.org and it says Sundari Foundation, you as a donor, remember this is a donor-facing website, would be like, who? I don't know Sundari Foundation. So that's why we've asked for the DBA. Whatever you enter in that preferred name or DBA field will be number 1, what's displayed on your Give Miami Day profile, the name that's listed there, and number 2, what's in your URL. So GiveMiamiDay.org/ it'll say the DBA name. So in this example, it would say Lotus House Women's Shelter instead of Sundari Foundation. It's something that we've run into in the past with a lot of our participants who do go by a DBA and then they have their legal name listed and it just gets hairy. So if you go by the same name, both legal, if you don't have a DBA, just enter your legal name in again.
So I said that was our last question, but we've got 2 more that come in, and one is important.
We only have 3 minutes left,
yeah.
So put in those questions if you have them.
Okay, so this question is about the match minutes, particularly how time is tracked. Allison says on her own computer and at their own computers in their office, their times might display differently. So how do you know when the actual minute for the match minute starts? Is there a clock on the website? How does that work?
Great question, Allison. It was Allison, right? Hey, Allison. So we go off the Kimbia website. There's no real-time clock during the event, so we really just go off what it says in the corner of our computer. Every donation that's made is time-stamped to the 100th of a second, and so we're able to see the donations as they come in, which order they come in, and see which gifts were matched. It's something that we have to do manually after the event is over. So if you or a donor make a gift during the match minute and you're wondering right at that moment, did I get it? You're not going to know until after the event, after we do the math. We definitely had a lot of folks reach out to us last year and say, I made my gift at 3:05, where's my matching gift? And remember, it is until the pool is exhausted. So after those $15,000 are matched, then the matching opportunity is over. And we are counting to the 100th of a second. To answer your question, what I would recommend is that you fill out the donation form before the match minute begins, and then just as soon as it says 3:05 or whatever the time is, just press send, and hopefully you'll get in. We had a couple people that were superstars at match minutes last year. I think because they used the multi-give, so they had all their donations there, and they filled out the donation form in advance, and as soon as the clock said 3:05, they pressed submit, and it worked really well.
And then we just had one latecomer who wants to know where this webinar will be available after we end the recording.
After the recording is over, this will be posted on the Nonprofits Toolkit. We might not get to it today, hopefully we do, but this week, for sure, it'll be posted on the Nonprofits Toolkit. Like I said, that's the homepage for everything you need to help plan your campaign, so please visit the Nonprofit Toolkit often. We're always updating it. Please join the Facebook group, Give Miami-Dade Nonprofit Learning Exchange. I'll be cross-posting everything I say in email. I'll cross-post to that. So, have your whole team, any volunteers, any staff that's working on your campaign, have them join in the Facebook group and check the Nonprofit Toolkit. All right, thank you all so much for joining us this past hour. Thank you for your thoughtful questions. We appreciate your time. We wish you the very best of luck moving forward with Give Miami-Day, and we're here to help. So please reach out if you need any assistance. Thanks so much. Have an awesome day.